Hey guys and gals, this video is one that I've wanted to make for, I don't know, a few weeks at least now since the fight happened. Uh, so as some of you know, if you have watched my streams, I get my butt kicked in this fight, and it didn't go my way. Which, I mean, nobody's perfect. Uh, you know, somebody had to lose. This time it had to be me. It was my first fight. It was my opponent's fourth or fifth fight. It's kind of vague. So he was already used to the pre-fight jitters. I've done jiu-jitsu tournaments, and in high school I did taekwondo. I think I've had one match in taekwondo in my entire life. And in the army, I did army combatives, which kind of like jiu-jitsu tournaments, but it escalates. Um, But yeah, I had a new rush in this MMA fight. It was an interesting experience to say the least. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a look at the fight. The full video that I have of the fight is 1 minute and 54 seconds, and we're gonna take a look at that video and kind of break it down, where it started going wrong, and what I could have done better. And they say hindsight is 2020. So looking back at the fight, I know I could have done a lot better. So let's go ahead and take a look at my first fight. Here we go. There we go. I'm the chubby guy right here. Real quick, that feeling of them saying my name like that, it was incredible, but it was kind of like Ricky Bobby after he won the race. I don't know what to do with my hands. So I was just like, yeah, I really didn't know what to do. I felt excited. So I bowed, which is, a jiu-jitsu thing, and then I shook my fist in the air like, yeah, let's go. My opponent here held my hand, and I don't know if it was like because he was nervous or if he was trying to mess with my brain a little bit, but it did. It messed with my brain a little bit. And if you watch me here, I'm extremely nervous. So let's go back just a second. So we touch gloves. And as soon as we touch gloves, I go from looking at his, what I call the target area between his shoulder blades and his chest. Because from here, I can peripherally see everything. I can see his shoulders. I can see his arms, his hands, his feet. And I can see his head. And I screwed up and I looked up at his eyes. And the moment I looked at his eyes, I humanized him. And I got nervous. And I started doing this little dance thing with my feet. And I threw this kick. And going into the fight, I knew my opponent was going to be a wrestler. So I was told to lead with my hands, which is what I typically do anyway. But ultimately, I wanted it on the ground too. I'm a jiu-jitsu based fighter. So we got it to the ground. But I didn't do jiu-jitsu. I completely forgot jiu-jitsu. The excitement, the adrenaline, all of it, like the combined amount of emotions got to me, and this is the result. I managed to hook his arm with an overhook. I'm trying to prevent him from posturing up. I'm trying to hook his leg. He starts punching me in the back of the head. The ref stops that. So normally I shift my hips and I'm able to roll him there, but I didn't do it. Like I said, I forgot jiu-jitsu. I'm getting my frames. He's pinning my arm with his knee, which is really smart. It's what I do to a lot of people. His team's calling out for him to go full mount. I'm trying to hook his leg with a thread the needle, get my my half guard going. Yeah, from here I should be getting off of my back and onto my left hip, so onto this side, facing him. and trying to keep that underhook going. But instead, I just let him punch me in the face. Now, his punches weren't bothering me. What was bothering me is in my mind, I'm like, if I don't defend myself, the referee, who is like right here watching this, is going to stop the fight. And I don't want the referee to stop the fight and me get a TKO loss. So I made a big mistake. I put my arm, my left arm, straight in the air. And I'm trying to put my forearm on his neck, but instead of doing that, I went too far. And I gave him a free submission. Now, if you look, I'm defending the submission really well. I've got his leg hooked, I've got my hands together, and I'm pushing my elbow against his head, and I'm trying to get it up and go to the ground. And from there, if I could have gotten that, I would have just taken his back. And at this point, which it's too late, at this point, the excitement was starting to go away, and I was starting to become more and more focused, but I had already screwed up. So he gets me in this arm triangle. I had his leg hooked. I don't know why I let it go. So I go back to it. I almost tap here, and then like I'm going to fight this. It's not hurting me. I'm not in trouble yet. And after I almost tap right there, I go back to my hands. I'm pushing his head away, and I'm like, okay, I can hang out here for a minute and just the ref's either going to stop us. I don't think he'll stop us with a submission attempt, but then I could just, last until the end of the round. I thought that we were much further in the round than we really were. I think he beat me within the first minute of the fight, or maybe just a little over the first minute. I'd have to go back and watch it again. But yeah, he didn't have a very good arm triangle going on here. I hook his leg again. Up there, I tap out. The reason I tapped is my shoulder popped. And when my shoulder popped, it went from being I'm okay to it slid into my throat, and I was in a lot of trouble. I started seeing stars. And in my brain, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to let this dude choke me out. I would rather be choked out than tapped out. But out of habit from doing jiu-jitsu for the past 4 years, I tapped. So it was my body's reaction. My brain's thinking one thing, my body did something else out of muscle memory. So he got me to tap out. But yeah, and the look on my coach's face kind of says it all. He was pretty disappointed in me. He knew that I could do better. I don't know, I got in there and forgot what I was doing. But since then, he and I have talked. We've created a new game plan. We're going to get back in there pretty soon and do it again. And that is my first MMA fight. That's how it went. That's what happened. I have a ton of respect for my opponent. He's a really good wrestler. Apparently, he was like the runner-up for the state championship. I think he said in high school. I think the worst part of losing the fight, well, not just losing in the first minute, but I came out of it fresh. Like you could have thrown me back in the cage and I was ready to go again. I didn't have any injuries. I wasn't tired. I don't think either of us even started sweating at the time. So when the fight was over with, he and I went to the back and we were talking. And, he even said that he was expecting me to be a harder fight because he knew I was a jiu-jitsu guy. And he wanted to do it again. He wanted a second fight with me. So, I mean, we've agreed. And now we have a kind of an inside bet going on that if he loses to me next time, if he loses to me the next time we fight, he has to shave his mullet. So it's pretty funny. But overall, I mean, he's a great guy, great fighter. I'm looking forward to getting a rematch with him. But in the meantime, I'm cutting weight. I'm training. I'm doing a jiu-jitsu tournament December 18th. Um, I mean, let me see here. Yeah, let me go back to this real quick. So here's a picture of he and I after the fight. He's a super nice guy, absolutely a great fighter. So I was pretty excited to get a photo with him after the fight. I actually spent time looking for him. He had a lot of great control in the fight too. So my friend actually pointed that out to me. Uh, Now I've got another picture somewhere on here, I think. I've got a picture of him getting his hand raised, and I was clapping for him. I was excited for him. I was happy for him. I do have a teammate that won his fight that same night. I can't find it at this time, but that's okay. But yeah, I'm planning to do a jiu-jitsu tournament December 18th. I've got a tap cancer out event I'm doing December 11th. It's the Global Grappling Day. So for Global Grappling Day, for 1 hour, I'll be doing a live stream on Twitch, Instagram, and Facebook and YouTube, where I'm grappling with a training partner or training partners. I think we may do a round robin. I'm not really sure how we're going to do that yet. Still putting it together, but I'm doing the Global Grappling Day on the 11th, and then the 18th, I've got a Grappling Industries Jiu-Jitsu tournament I'm doing in gi and no gi, and then on January 8th, I might have another MMA fight. And I've been training, I've been doing strength and conditioning, I've been cutting weight, my cardio is getting up there. I want to go in this fight and be a monster. And I'm going to get a couple more fights in, get some more experience, and then I think my opponent for my first fight, and I can do it again. I had to let my shoulder heal. It was sublimated, so a slight dislocation. It was forward, out of place forward, about halfway. I'm just now getting to the point where I can go behind me again. It's still a little bit tight, but um, it's getting there. I'm also able to lift lighter weights above my head. So I think my hands are actually not even. There we go. So yeah, go above my head with my arms again. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to get back in the cage and do it again. This time I'm planning to come out victorious. I think the main problem is when I first, well, I took the fight at the same time my opponent took the fight. We both took it on like a 2 days notice, and I didn't tell myself at all that I was going to win the fight. I just told myself I was going to get in there and have fun. This time I'm going to tell myself that I'm going to win the fight, and I'm going to try as long as that I'm going to be a fighter. I'm going to try and be a humble person and polite to my opponents and friendly. I'm never gonna be that guy who leads with trash talk. I would much rather my opponent and I get in there, have a fight, come out, shake hands, and go eat wings at Buffalo Wild Wings or something like that, and share beer together. Not literally the same beer, but like have a beer together. Um, but yeah, that's the kind of fighter I want to be. Someone like GSP or Stephen Thompson. Those guys are awesome inspirations. They're super nice guys, and I mean, there's a lot of others. But yeah, my my goal now is to get back in the cage January 8th, and I'll be in the light heavyweight division this time. So instead of above 210 to 265, I'll be at 205. Meaning I'll actually have to cut weight. Right now I'm walking around at 221. Uh, I weighed in at my fight at 225. My opponent was much skinnier than me. So he had to have weighed 210. Otherwise, I don't think they would have let him fight me. Um, But yeah, when I saw him, I was just like, I'm so much bigger than this guy. Well, it turns out I'm bigger like in this area, but I also have a bigger trunk and, arms than he did. But like in this area, I was much wider as well. So just too much tacos. But yeah, that is my first MMA fight. Now somebody's at the front door, so I've got to go. All right, guys. Take care. I'll see you later.